Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Saturday, the 8th of November. I hope your weekend has started Sunday, the 8th of November. What am I talking about? Geez, I hope your weekend is going well, folks. In the news this morning, we'll catch up with how Paul Cole was going in the squash final. We'll bring up to date with how Lydia Ko, also in the Middle East, has gone in the golf this weekend. In the LPGA, we've got cycling action from both the SBS Bank Tour of Southland and also the Valletta España, and a whole host of rugby news. And also we had International Rugby League action yesterday as well. So lots and lots of things to cover this morning, and let's crack on with it. First off, let's talk about Paul Cole, who was in the final of the Qatar Classic over there in the squash, facing off against world number one Al Farag of Egypt. In the end, it finished 11-8, 6-11, 11-9, 11-9, with Al Farag taking the title there. Paul Cole fought back in that second up, but Al Farag took too hard. 4 games to finish things off. This is the second platinum final that Paul Cole has reached. So clearly a man in form, but just couldn't quite get over the line there at the end. Moving on then, and staying in the Middle East, and as I say, Lydia Ko was playing in the Drive On Championship in the day-night game there. Sorry, it's Great Waters course. So I thought it was over in a minute. I'm wrong there. And Lydia Ko finished tied 8th there after an even par final round. Finished 3 under par overall finished 10 under par overall for the tournament. I misread something earlier. So it must finish 3 under par. I must have misread the how she went there in that final round. But 10 under par, 6 off the lead, where McDonald won the title. Moving on then into the cycling, and at the Valletta España, Primož Roglic was put under pressure by both Hugh Carthy and Richard Carapaz on the final mountaintop stage. But good for Primož Roglic was the fact that a break had gone away, and they hoovered up the bonus seconds, with David Gaudu breaking away and winning the stage for Groupama FDJ. Richard Carapaz did manage to distance Primož Roglic, but the gap wasn't big enough for him to take over the leader's jersey, which means with just what is expected to be a processional stage into Madrid to go, Primož Roglic leads Richard Carapaz by 24 seconds, with Hugh Carthy in third place on 47 seconds. So after Primož Roglic lost the Tour de France on the penultimate stage, it looks like he managed to hold on to it this time at the Valletta España, the defending champion, winning that race. Well, his winner-elect, with just the one stage left, the processional stage into Madrid left to go. Over in the SBS Bank Tour of Southland, they had 2 stages on their final day. First off, it was the individual time trial, and the overnight leader, Corbin Strong of PowerNet, knew that he was going to have a challenge on his hand, and in the end, unfortunately, he finished 23rd, 1 minute and 9 seconds down on Aaron Gate, who for Black Spoke Pro Cycling, who took the stage. James Oram finished 4th, 21 seconds behind his teammate, and then Michael Vink finished 5th for transport and engineering. That meant that Vink took a narrow lead over Aaron Gate into that final stage of 1 second, with James Oram 5 seconds back. Corbin Strong dropped back to 4th place, 30 seconds 37 seconds in arrears. In what was going to be a flat stage and an expected sprint finish, that was going to be too much for Corbin Strong to make up. But the top three could definitely change with all of the time bonuses that are available on the line, and that's what happened. Aaron Gate won the final stage into Invercargill. We saw Michael Vink finish down in 12th and James Oram down in 13th. So with those bonus seconds, that meant that Aaron Gate took the title for Black Spoke Pro Cycling Academy, 6 seconds ahead of Michael Vink of Transport Engineering, and James Oram came in third with Black Spoke Pro Cycling. Corbin Strong won the under 23 classification, and Black Spoke Pro Cycling won the team event. In the sprint jersey, that went to James Fuchs of Creation Signs Mito Q, and the King of the Mountains also went to Creation Signs Mito Q's rider, with Paul Wright taking that one out. So that's the SBS Bank Tour of Southland, the biggest tour multi-stage race in the New Zealand calendar, and fantastic for them to get that all off and finished in these COVID times. Moving on then to the Rugby League, and over in the league we had two international games on the women's side of things. First off, Niue women lost to Tonga women 8-66, so good, big win there for Tonga women. And then the New Zealand Kiwi Ferns took on Fetu Samoa and won that one 28-8 points there at Mount Smart yesterday. So congratulations to the Kiwi Ferns on their result yesterday. I'm sure that Brad will have more details on that during the standoff show on Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. For that one, with on that game. Moving on then to the rugby, and boy oh boy, it was a packed day of action in rugby union yesterday. I was at Albany Stadium for the possibles versus the probables game up there, and what turned out to be a structured and a good game in the first half, with 26 players per side. It became a bit disjointed come the second half of that one, and the possibles took out the game 19-28 there. Kendra Kotzig running things nicely. Also, we had Salika Witiana also putting in some good runs for a try herself as well in that one. You can check out my post-match interviews with the two head coaches and also with the two props, Pip Love and Amy Rule, who both also picked up tries as well. So those interviews are over on the New Zealand Sports Radio Facebook page. Also yesterday, it was Mitre 10 Cup action, which saw some surprising results. Auckland beat Northland 24-20, but only after both their hookers got injured early in the first half, meaning that they had uncontested scrums for most of the game, with Auckland playing with 14 players. Then North Harbour beat Counties 32-5 in some horrible conditions up there. I mean, the possible problems got away in good weather. It was windy, but it was sunny, but the rain came down for that second game. Harbour took a 10-0 lead playing into the wind and rain, and then continued their fine form recently with 5 wins now from 6 games to beat Counties 32-5 in that second half. Had really control of that one all of the way through. Not the greatest spectacle in the wind and rain, mind you. Then we had the surprise of the day. Tasman losing to Canterbury 0-29. An important win for Canterbury as that sees them climb off bottom of the table in the Premiership in their fight for relegation. Bay of Plenty will be facing off against Waikato today at FMG Stadium in Hamilton. I'll be at that game bringing you post-match reactions and coverage of that game. By the way, Stephen Harris was at Auckland versus Auckland versus Northland yesterday, and you can catch his interviews on the New Zealand Sports Radio Facebook page, as well as mine from the North Harbour versus Counties Manukau game as well. And obviously, the big game of the weekend was the Bledisloe Cup between the Wallabies and the All Blacks over in Brisbane, and this one finished 24-22 with the win for the Wallabies. But it will probably be more remembered for the red cards and yellow cards in this one. Ofa Tuangafasi got red carded for what was called a high hit of shoulder to the head, which they'll be discussing in the rugby review show this evening at 8 p.m. Swinton then also picked up a yellow card some 12 minutes later. So 2 players down in the first half. Corabetti then got yellow carded just before half time, and it was an 8-all at half time. The All Blacks couldn't take advantage of the extra player. And in fact, the Wallabies won that period 3-0. Scott Barrett got himself yellow carded late on, and a try just before the end of time by Vaea wasn't enough to pull the All Blacks back into it. Not a great game of rugby, I will be honest. Again, those cards didn't help things, but gives us plenty to discuss this evening, I say, on that rugby review show, and I'm sure we'll also be discussing some parts of the game on the Driving Maul show on Tuesday at 8 p.m. as well. So do join us for those 2 shows here on the New Zealand Sports Radio, and I will obviously be back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with the morning sports briefing. Hope you're all having a wonderful week, folks. I will be down in FMG Stadium for Waikato versus Bay of Plenty this afternoon. So do look out for videos from that post-match interviews from that game as well.